Audeze's MM100 is an open back, planar magnetic headphone, retails for $399, has a cool aesthetic, nice comfort. Does it come reasonably close to sounding as good as their top of the line MM500 headphone? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Joe with Gramophone, and Audeze is one of our best headphone vendors. This particular series is really intriguing because the MM stands for Manny Marroquin. He's the multiple Grammy-award winning music producer. He's worked with Taylor Swift and Carlos Santana and Kanye, all kinds of famous artists. And he actually worked in conjunction with Audeze on developing the MM series, MM obviously standing for his name. So this is kind of an intriguing build story between one of the best known music producers there is and one of our best headphone producers. By the way, all the Audeze products are designed and built in Southern California, so it's a nice build quality story as well. Now, the good news is we all pretty much agree that the MM100 does come reasonably close in sound quality to its big brother, the MM500, even though there's such a big disparity in the price. When we talk about a studio-grade headphone, remember that what we're talking about is not an artificially boosted bass or an artificially boosted high-end to make a headphone sound more exciting. A studio-grade headphone, you're really going for the most linear and most accurate sound quality that you can, because what the producer, the engineer, the mastering engineer all want is for the headphone to be delivering exactly what the artist intended. And both of these do a good job of that. Let's talk a little bit about the build quality, which I think at the $400 price range is excellent. This is built of aluminum, magnesium, and steel as far as the chassis goes, and it really has a nice solid feel to it. And it kind of gets around a problem that some headphones have. The clamp force doesn't feel excessive at all. Some headphones really kind of feel like they're pressing on the sides of your head. You don't really get that with this one. Another part of the build quality that we like, there's an extra layer of padding right here underneath the top of the headband, above this little suspension band. And that's quite nice. Also, the ear cups have a really nice feel to them. They're gel filled, nice and soft, and they've got the racetrack oval kind of a shape so that when you put them on your head, they've got a very nice and comfortable feel to them. Even if you've got a little bit larger ears, as I do, there's no extra pressure or anything like that. Now, one key thing to note when we're talking about these headphones is it's a planar magnetic headphone and it is an open back headphone. That's different from, for example, this pair of Sony's. This is a closed back headphone. So open back versus closed back is largely a question of how you plan to use the headphone. If you're listening on the plane, on the bus, at night while your spouse next to you is trying to read War and Peace, there's going to be some escaping of the sound from here, which you won't get with a closed back style. So if you've got these, let's say at 10% on the volume scale, probably you're not going to be disturbing anybody around you. If you're at 30%, 50%, certainly 2/3 of the way up, others are going to notice the sound quality. Now, having said that, the big advantage of an open back headphone is that you really get this much more open and immersive kind of a sound stage. When you're wearing these, a certain amount of the sound is literally emanating out from the sides, and it just seems more like a lifelike listening experience, a little more like you're actually at the jazz club or the blues club versus, listening to a pair of headphones. Nothing wrong with closed back. I've got closed backs myself, but there is something really wonderful about the open back sound. The Gramophone, we really appreciate your support. So please like and subscribe. Click that little bell icon so that you're always notified of our upcoming content. And don't hesitate to leave us a comment. We'll respond as quickly as we can. Another quick note or two about ergonomics. You can see, of course, that these headphones actually will pack flat. So you can throw them into the luggage. That's kind of a benefit if you do a fair amount of travel. Maybe more importantly for a lot of listeners, this is a stereo jack. It only needs to plug into one side to get stereo. You don't need to plug into the other side. Obviously, that's nice if you're a mixing engineer, but even if you're just a regular old person who might want to be, typing away your emails or that sort of thing, you don't have that second cord. It just leaves you a little bit more free. Kind of a nice benefit. Another thing we like about the MM100, this is a relatively easy to drive product. It's 98 dB sensitivity, relatively high, and it's an 18 ohm impedance. So this is not a super challenging product to drive. It will absolutely sound better if you use a good quality headphone amp, and we'd urge you to do that for best results. But if you want to buy these and just plug them into your receiver or your other component, the headphone connection in that product will probably drive them just fine. Let's talk just a little bit more about comfort. This is a relatively lightweight headphone. It's 475 grams, so it doesn't really weigh heavily on your head. It does not, by the way, have an adjustable yoke mechanism like the MM500 does. But what you do have are 3 different sets of holes on both sides. So this adjustment strap literally can just come off. And again, here you see the 3 sets of holes. So you can pretty easily line this up with the size of your head. Obviously, headphone comfort is a matter purely of personal preference because we've all got different sized heads, but you've got a pretty fair amount of flexibility here to fit this, whether you've got sort of an average size head, larger, it won't make much difference to you. It's nice that at this price range, you even get a nice appearance. Audeze's done a good job with blending the black, which is kind of the primary color, with this sort of aluminum silver kind of finish. They did a nice job too with the traditional A for Audeze, protecting the planar magnetic diaphragm as well. So the ear pads in these are glued. They can, of course, be replaced. All you need to do basically is take a razor blade, gently sand down any remaining glue, re-glue, and pop on the new ear pad. It's not really all that big a deal, but it's certainly something you want to be aware of. Also, again, the ear pads are really quite comfortable. They've filled them with a gel that makes this, to me, a very comfortable ear pad. Now let's go back to the sound quality of the MM100. Remember that the benchmark is the MM500. This is a studio-grade headphone designed by a Grammy winner. What are the differences? Well, they have the same kind of sonic signature, I would say, but one thing you'll notice is that the dynamics are not quite as good on the MM100. This is an incredibly dynamic headphone. This is a very dynamic headphone. Bass response. The bass here, you can literally get usable bass down to 20 cycles, which is the theoretical lowest limit of human hearing. The bass for a $400 headphone is excellent. Not quite as good as what you're going to get here, but really, really good for this price range. Of course, a big part of the sonic signature of any headphone, and let's be honest, there are personal taste issues that, your response may vary, but I would again say that this is a relatively smooth and accurate frequency response. There's a little bit of a peak right at about 3K, and there's a little bit of a corresponding dip just after 3K, so maybe the 4 to 6K region. I don't think that you'll find that this is an overly aggressive or overly bright headphone, because that combination of a bit of a peak, and a bit of a dip, I think kind of brings you back to a relatively even response with what I would call slightly vocal forward. So I was listening to the Diana Ross cut, I'm Coming Out, prior to shooting this video. And I would say that her voice was well placed within the mix. Again, a little bit forward, but at least for my listening taste, not bright or aggressive. One of the differences here would be that this would offer a slightly smoother frequency response profile. Overall, at Gramophone, we think that the MM100 is really a pretty amazing achievement. In comparison to their MM500, it's not quite as good. You've got better bass here in the 500, you've got a smoother frequency response, dynamics are a little bit better. Maybe the biggest difference I would say that you'll hear is that stereo separation of instruments, that placement of, oh, the sax is there and the clarinet is there, is better on the 500. But for the price delta, for $399 retail, we think this is a pretty amazing headphone. Really good sounding, comfortable to wear. In our view, Audeze hit a home run with the MM100. To learn more about Audeze and all of our great brands, visit Gramophone.com. And to pick up your pair of MM100 or whatever other product you might want, shop Sky by Gramophone, where you'll always get a secure checkout with fast and free shipping straight to your door. And we'd love to meet you. If you're anywhere near Maryland, please come to one of our 3 main locations in Timonium, Columbia, and Gaithersburg, Maryland. If you come to the Timonium store, come here to the Experience Center as well. You will see some amazing products in a wonderful setting. And stop by, if you can, our Kitchen Design Center just up the road in Hunt Valley. They'll do a great job helping you remodel your home. Thank you for watching this video. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you again soon.